From Channel 4, the local station, this is live coverage of the St. Augustine's 450th celebration. It's a place where roots run deep, centuries of history, part of the fabric of the community. Iconic landmarks known around the world and stories that span oceans.
To me, it's amazing what Menendez did.
4.5 centuries ago, Pedro Menendez came ashore, opening the first chapter in St. Augustine's history. A story that's as much about faith as it is about the founding of a city.
Pedro Menendez stepped forward and kissed a cross that Father Lopez held.
The church brought stability, brought certainly morals, and made the community, it made it a very stable community.
A story of struggles and moments that helped shape our nation's history. Now, a step back in time, retracing the start of the journey that's been 450 years in the making.
And you're looking live out from the grounds of the Mission Nombre de Dios in St. Augustine, the place where Pedro Menendez landed 450 years ago, and the place where reenactors are going to land in just about 30 minutes from right now.
Good morning, everyone. Mary Bear here with Kent Justice, and what a spectacular morning. That was just incredible, seeing the giant cross there at the Nombre de Dios. And 450 years ago, this very day, September 8th, 1565, Pedro Menendez landed on this land and declared that St. Augustine was Spain's. And St. Augustine, the Diocese of St. Augustine today, is commemorating the founding of the nation's first Catholic parish.
This is really something that is so important to the entire state of Florida, and really should be for our nation. As I've even spoken this last week with some of the leadership in state government, they say people need to know. People in Florida need to know about our history here in St. Augustine. People around the country need to know, and so that's part of what we're going to get to celebrate today as well. And so as we go throughout this morning, we've got some guests with us. We want to introduce them to you right now. Sitting just to my right here is retired Major General Emmett Buddy Titshaw, most recently the Adjutant General, the leader of the Florida National Guard, and somebody who loves history.
Thanks for having me on your program today.
We are really excited about it. Thank you for being with us.
And to my left is Father Terry Morgan, also of the Diocese of St. Augustine. And I have to ask you, I know you're just thrilled to be here. You know, being a part of the diocese and being a Floridian yourself, what does today mean to you?
I was pastor of the cathedral for 7 years, but I've been in the diocese as a Catholic since 1953 as a 4-year-old boy.
No kidding.
In the parish in Jacksonville, Florida, as a priest in Arlington and in Southside, as a teacher at Bishop Kenny High School. This gets me as a Catholic in Northeast Florida reconnected with my roots.
I think one of the interesting things about the original landing was when Don Pedro anchored offshore, he didn't come ashore immediately. He did what we call today a TTP, a tactic, technique, or procedure. He sent a force ashore first to see how the Native Americans would receive them.
Really?
And you don't want your commander going out on the first wave, so to speak, because it might not be a friendly reception. So he didn't actually come ashore until the third day after they landed.
Let's listen in right here on this historic reenactment from 450 years ago today.
Well, we want to talk a little bit about the Cathedral Basilica and tell you a little bit about the history, because Bishop Felipe Estevez oversees the Catholic Diocese of St. Augustine, and it is spread far and wide.
Yeah, the diocese incorporates 17 counties in North Florida. Home base right here in St. Augustine at the beautiful Cathedral Basilica, home to our nation's first parish.
If you've ever taken the tourist trip down St. George Street, you've likely stopped here. This is the Cathedral Basilica of St. Augustine. For thousands of visitors each year, It's a remarkable feat of Spanish colonial architecture in this, the nation's oldest city. For its Catholic parishioners, it's home base for their faith.
There is the procession as they make their way into historic Old St. Augustine.
Yeah, this procession to Cathedral Basilica. The route is 1.03 miles from the Mission down San Marco Avenue, where you're seeing there, to Avenida Menendez, and then here to Cathedral Place, which is where we're located right now, where we're watching along with you this procession take place leading up to Mass in just less than an hour here at the cathedral. Right in front of the cathedral right now is Kamasi Aaron. Kamasi, you were there as the procession began coming into the church.
I was, and you can see it is still going on right now, and it just seems like everyone is getting more and more excited, more and more into it. First seeing Pedro Menendez come here inside the Cathedral Basilica, so exciting for people just to see people in costume and really taking us back to 1565, 450 years ago, the date that we are celebrating here.
This antiphon is taken from the celebration of the morning prayer for the Feast of the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and it is a most appropriate for us to hear as we gather this morning in the Cathedral Basilica of St. Augustine to celebrate that day 450 years ago when this historic city was founded, and along with it was established the first Catholic parish in what is now the United States of America.
It is just so exciting for people who are here, who've spent the last hour and a half or so kind of out here in the sun, but enjoying every single moment of it, because this was something they have been looking forward to for quite a while. And you can see people leaving the Mass now. They are coming from the church and also from this courtyard area where people were watching from the Jumbotron. And
you know, when you're 450 years old, you're going to have some good, some bad, and some ugly.
St. Augustine has all of that, as you can imagine. The nation's oldest city also has endured some very difficult times.
St. Augustine is merely a symbol or an expression of the tragedies that engulf our whole nation.
St. Augustine, early 1960s. Tension between blacks and whites is palpable, unmistakable.
At that time, St. Augustine was one of the major group of cities that they anticipated civil unrest. And it was listed right along with Birmingham, Alabama, and Augusta, Georgia, and Mississippi, cities in Mississippi. Things just kind of festered and festered.
The Civil Rights Bill is still not law, and separate but equal is anything but.
In the early spring of 1964, local Negroes began civil rights demonstrations with white and Negro sympathizers from the North participating. The march of 300 strong included a group of Jewish clergymen from 9 other states, which arrived to take part in the demonstration.
Dr. Robert Haling, a local dentist, often called the father of the St. Augustine civil rights movement, is attacked and brutally beaten by the KKK.
They actually went after Dr. Haling, and they attacked and broke his hands to try to keep him from practicing his dental practice.
You know, Flagler College is an architectural jewel that really sets the tone for all of downtown St. Augustine.
Oh, certainly does.
Years ago, the rich and powerful called it their home away from home. It was the place to be.
You're right. It was very rich in culture. And today, a couple of thousand college students call it their first step to a successful future.
Nestled among the cobblestone streets and hustle and bustle of tourists sits an architectural wonder, Flagler College, home of the Saints. With the nation's oldest city intertwined with Christianity, it's probably not a big stretch to see where the school got its nickname. But do you know the history of this very impressive liberal arts school that sits in our backyard?
The college began in 1968 as sort of an outgrowth of two things.
One was an increase in the number of private schools. The other,
women were going to college in larger numbers, and so this sort of flipped the hotel into an all-women's college. Worked pretty well in that you had hotel rooms that became dormitory rooms for women. The dining room became the dining hall.
It's not your typical college cafe. This one is adorned with Tiffany glass and hand-carved chairs from the hotel's glory days. Economic realities, however, forced the college to go co-ed in '71.
We hope that it's been an educational time for you and something that you really can take pride in being a resident of this area.
And we have some key names to thank as well. Mummy Cat Productions, Journey 450 to Diocese of St. Augustine, PGA Tour.
Yep, Flagler College, Ascend Media Productions, and State Archives, all helping out with what you got to experience this morning.
To tell you the story of St. Augustine, the real story, right?
Happy birthday and 450th. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.